And we are back. Couch Company Podcast. I'm John. With me as always, Tyler.
Hello.
What's up? Nothing? Nothing's up?
Nothing. It's Friday.
Something's up.
I'm going to Florida.
You are in Florida right now.
I'm in Florida. Yeah.
Beach, Mai Tai. Here's a question for you.
Probably not a Mai Tai.
Everyone always says Mai Tai. They say, I want to be on a beach with a Mai Tai. Why? First of all, I don't even know what a Mai Tai is.
It's
Secondly,
like lime and kind of like a little refreshing.
It's a beach drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is like, has a complete monopoly on like the perfect life, quote unquote, rhetoric.
Yeah, sure. I would not pick a Mai Tai.
It's literally always Mai Tai.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
always beach, always Mai Tai. Like when like stereotypical someone says, I want to be X.
It's the chalk pick.
Yeah, but why? Like, what is so special about a Mai Tai?
Because it's not like super heavy or anything. It's like refreshing and whatever. And you have like the salt waves spraying on you, and you have the
Yeah, but there's other refreshing drinks.
yeah
Alcoholic drinks.
Painkillers are great.
I guess maybe it doesn't have a good ring to it.
Painkiller.
I want to be on a beach with a painkiller. Like that could be misinterpreted. Maybe
it could be.
Yeah.
But that's
like
what I would want.
Like a Percocet.
I am not going to be drinking at all this trip.
Really?
Dude, I can't imagine having drinking and then having a baby anywhere near like the ocean or even a pool. It's like, man,
you got to be alert.
You got to be on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Some would say the baby would cause the drinking, maybe.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I'm not saying
like when she goes to bed.
7:30. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe might break
Sneak
out a
one
Mai
in.
Tai or two. Yeah.
Sneak a perk in.
Yeah. A little Percocet.
Little perky.
I don't think I've ever had Percocet.
I haven't either, but that's like, I think it's funnier.
Sure.
It's like out of all the painkillers, that might be the funniest one to say.
I feel like it's for old people.
I don't know. I'm not very well versed. I should ask my brother. He's
in your drugs.
Going to be a pharmacist.
Yeah. Oh, he is? Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he got his white coat recently.
Oh.
This year, I think.
Fancy.
Yeah. Which is a big deal for them.
Like, is 4 Advil too many Advil?
4 Advil?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
it's like 800 milligrams.
Okay.
Is that like too much?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think he would probably ask the size of the person and I don't know, other factors.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm talking. I'm a trombone player.
Yeah.
That qualifies me for nothing.
Same.
And pretty much.
Yeah. I could play trombone.
Could you?
I don't know.
I don't think you could.
You don't think I could?
No.
Okay.
Do you think you could?
I could get there.
Like define play, like make a noise?
I can make a noise.
Yeah, you could probably get a noise out. I believe in that.
I could do a wah-wah.
Could you play a tune? I don't know. I don't know.
Is it
probably not?
Like, I don't know, like kind of intuitive?
I believe so, because it's like a giant slide whistle.
Yeah.
I think trombone might be the most intuitive instrument.
Yeah.
Like if you look at a clarinet, for example, like the average person's not going to understand how those buttons work.
Yes.
Right. And how, what notes
like
they produce.
Octave
right.
up and whatnot. Yeah.
Well, the octave key for clarinet in the back as well?
Yeah. It's like sax.
So it's sax?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why it's so easy to play the sax if you play the clarinet.
While I am a firm proponent, and your father-in-law is going to not like this, I think sax is one of the easiest instruments.
Yeah, sure. I think a sax is easier than clarinet.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get mad at me, bro. Sax players, they get mad at me.
I don't think he'd argue that.
He wouldn't argue that?
I don't think so. He plays flute, so I feel like
Flute's not easy at all.
So I feel like if you dunk on his main guy, I think the sax is just cool and sounds great.
Well, that's how you know you have a good musician right there, especially woodwind players, when they can, it's like in the jazz area. I don't know if he probably wouldn't classify him as that, but that's like not classical, right? Let's say like outside the classical realm, you have to really be able to double and triple. As a woodwind player, it's pretty nuts. So that's like how you can know a serious jazz player from like just a regular guy, you know?
Like a regular Joe Schmo.
Yeah, because like, they're good on their sax, but then you get a flute part.
He plays clarinet, sax.
Yeah. Well, he does a lot of musicals,
oboe,
which is like
flute.
That's required,
Yeah.
even for people like me. So like when you have a pit orchestra, it's generally much smaller than like your like traditional orchestra, like what we saw, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's like a full size orchestra for classical music. Pit's much smaller, so you have to be able to double and stuff. So like someone like me, for example, I play bass trombone. Generally, they'll
really branching out there.
What?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Bass trombone is your main.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they what I've seen is like they'll play bass trombone and then they'll also play tuba in that pit, and then usually there's like just one trombone part. Depends what book you're playing, but yeah, a lot more doubling than.
Do you think the average and this is not a knock on your instrument at all, so don't take it this way.
Yeah,
I'm about to knock your instrument. So, do you think the average person could like be like, "Oh, that was really missing that trombone part"?
No.
Okay. I just didn't know because it's like, okay, like brass is brass, right? Like if they have like a sax, or a trumpet.
Think something's missing.
Okay.
But they might not be able to, pinpoint it.
To like round it out. So like do you think you need trumpets before trombone?
Depends what we're talking about. Like what
I don't know, like
genre.
In a pit. Like you play in
an orchestra? Well, again, it's like what show. I would say you would probably have a trumpet over a trombone, but they're so
I'll give you
close.
I'll give you for instance. The Music Man, you have to have a trombone first.
Yeah.
You can't say 76 trombones without a trombone in the pit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's very.
Okay, that's fair. Sing in the rain.
Yes.
All you need is rain. Some singing.
Well, yeah.
Well, do.
That's a good book.
Yeah.
That's a good. I never really did a lot of musicals in my career, so I'm not super well versed. But my favorite's West Side Story, though. That's a tough book. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I think it's one of the more overrated musicals, I think.
Yeah, it's because you're unqualified and...
No, it's the Grand Theft Auto of musicals.
Oh, the greatest musical ever made.
Sure.
Yeah.
The greatest musical ever made, I think, is probably Singing in the Rain.
I think you get a lot of people who'd agree with you.
I really like that one. That's
Again, I'm not an expert on it, but that's a classic.
It's
for sure.
Some of the songs don't really hold up in today's day and age. They're a little creepy, like the movie. The movie's a little creepy.
Yeah, but look, man, it was a product of the times.
It was. Yeah.
I think it's important to kind of understand the context. We've grown as a culture, and like, for example, it's like, do you ban that musical because it's like distasteful in some spots? Like, no, that would be a travesty to me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my thought on it. It's like, obviously it's a great work of art. Mm-hmm. We should take it for what it is, right?
Would you just take it as is? Like you wouldn't.
Yeah. Like why? Why try to neuter it?
That's fair.
When it's like, okay, we're intelligent enough to recognize certain aspects, right? If that's what you think, and just understand it was a different time and place.
Yeah.
I think us as a species, we're adult enough to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
We have the potential to do that. Is that done? I don't know, but that's my thought on it. Art's tricky, man. Art, because like, if you played it safe, would it be as good?
Yeah.
I feel like art is one of those things that you got to be on the line. You're always pushing the envelope.
I wonder how on the line it was back then, though. To be honest.
Yeah, maybe not, but I don't know. In some regard, though, right? Like great art is pushing some boundary. Maybe not socially or culturally, but
I don't even know about pushing a boundary, but it's like provoking a reaction in one way or another.
Yeah.
So it could push about like a social norm or social boundary to provoke the response.
It could, but it doesn't even have like something like Star Wars, for example, like pretty cookie cutter story. Mm-hmm. Technically, really pushed the boundaries of what was possible, right?
Yeah, from a tech or artistic point of view.
Yeah, right. From a special effects point of view. Yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot of different aspects.
Yeah.
To any kind of art.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the fear is like if you live in a world that is very afraid of everything you do, I think you lose more than you gain from that.
Yeah.
Because then people are afraid to take risks. And I think only, a majority of great things come out of risk taking.
Yes. I would say vast majority.
But everything, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We could probably make that argument.
I think so. I mean, you're taking, some sort of risk. Maybe not a major risk, but every great thing, it was a risk, probably.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I want to live in a world where risks are okay.
They are okay.
Where they're encouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Am I going off track? Is that?
No,
I think it's the same kind of point. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember how we got here, but
Well,
yes.
you're saying Singing in the Rain has some problematic scenes.
I'm trying to think of the song. I think it's called.
I didn't think it was that bad, but maybe you're much more the expert than I am.
It's not,
so
but
I was taking it at face value.
Well, I was just listening to the soundtrack, and there's a song called "Beautiful Girls."
Yeah,
on it.
Yeah,
and it's just basically talking about how pretty these girls are, and it's like, and you're only 16, and it's like,
oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I remember you saying that.
Yeah,
so that obviously changed.
That's one.
Well, was 18 always the age of whatever?
I don't know.
Because I know in other countries it's different.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's why anime is problematic in and of itself. Just because culturally it's just very different.
To be fair, it's not like the song's like, oh hey, I want to get with you.
Well, yeah.
So
it's tasteful music.
It's viewing that era in a different. It's in current light, with that current lens, and that I think makes it icky.
Well, yeah.
But who knows?
Well, anytime you are viewing something that's from a different era, there's going to be something lost in translation, right?
Yeah. You would like to think back then they'd be aghast at you can't even use some of the lingo from previous eras because now it means something completely different or that, so I don't know.
Well, and vice versa. If they saw something from today, they'd be like, holy crap, these guys are degenerates.
Well, yeah, obviously.
You know what I'm saying?
Obviously, yes.
Yeah, so I think it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Definitely. Where are all their clothes? What happened?
Yeah.
No? You disagree?
No, yes.
I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm just saying every era is different.
Yeah. I can't wait to see, a couple generations from us. We're going to be the old.
We might have another Renaissance.
Maybe.
We're very I actually wonder about that stuff. When you think back to, the founding fathers and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You always have this idea in your head that everyone's super well educated and well spoken and arguing about politics in a very fashionable way or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It probably was not like that. That's maybe the top 1%, the founding fathers themselves, but everyone else is farmers, right? A lot of people don't know how to read.
I think it depends on where you are. I think social media, so you can just be an expert about anything at this point. But
that's true.
I think people were a little bit more okay, this is you come home from the factory and you're working your white picket fence in your house and whatever, and then you have little get-togethers and.
Well, I think you're talking a little bit further along in history, but
the 50s or whatever,
the 1950s.
Yeah,
I was talking about the 70s.
You're talking
90s.
Yeah, well, yeah. Then yes, I agree with you. They're all farmers.
But don't you get that thought though? When you think back to that, based on our education
smart.
And stuff, it's because we're studying the most important people at that time.
Yes,
and they're all geniuses, pretty much politically at least, probably.
Sure,
and
they're popular.
I would say they're geniuses. I mean, the formation of our country is pretty incredible.
Yes.
Especially since it was hundreds of years ago. But whatever. I digress. That's kind of the vision. Maybe I don't know. I'm just speaking through my experience. But
I think it's one of those, yes, they are. They're great. But at the same time, it's is Michael Jordan the best basketball player of all time?
He's up there.
Sure. But when you put him up against other people of modern, it's just different thing. Babe Ruth is really great, and then you put him up against somebody else that is just bigger, faster, stronger. Right?
This is the Mike Baer argument that people of previous eras can't be considered the best because by today's standards they might not be as good.
With notable exceptions, right? So Einstein or in different kind of truly genius, brilliant minds. I'm not saying that Ben Franklin or George Washington wasn't very inspiring in a different caliber than that time. And I'm not saying he would even not be great today. But when you're talking genius or they're talking through stuff or whatever, I think political minds and just economic minds and things like that, I think would probably run circles around a lot of them. Today's day and age,
Yeah, which is a great thing.
We just have so much information at our fingertips,
I think, I don't know. Some people might argue that I'm not an expert enough to know. That makes sense to me. And I would think that's what you would expect, right? The progression of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great thing. We're better today than we were back then.
Exactly.
But Just to kind of solidify my point with this, I disagree with the fact that like the standard of someone is judged against the current day standard. Like they have to be judged within their own era.
Sure.
Compared to their peers, because it's not.
You just can't call him a GOAT then.
Yes, you can.
I disagree with that.
Yes, you can. Because
you are literally saying greatest of all time.
Yes.
All time is all time.
Yes. But it's all perspective, or it's all relative, I should say. It's all relative to their peers. Because okay, for example, if we're taking like the sports example, which is a little bit more easy to digest, because like when you're talking about political ideas or philosophical ideas, I think those are much more universal, and you could maybe make the argument that the ideas back then are as good today. Maybe technically we know more, but I don't know. The Greeks had a lot of good stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, sure.
That's a very long time ago.
Yeah.
And like, that's like the foundation of stuff we still use today. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's more refined today and stuff like that. Again, I'm not an expert, so maybe I'm just totally
I'm not
wrong.
saying there aren't exceptions. Like I get that. Yeah.
But anyways, like if you take a sports example, it's like, all right, well, Babe Ruth is one of the best players to ever play baseball based on his stats. He completely eclipsed everyone he played with in the league. And then the counter argument is, well, he's playing against people who were part-time players and this and that and everything. It's like, okay, but if Babe Ruth was born today and he had access to the internet and all of the resources available to athletes that they have today, where they can do this as a full-time profession, we know more about nutrition, we are able to view all of the greats from the past and learn from them and utilize that knowledge, how good would he be today? It's like you can't say that he's not as good because he was born long ago and he...
So you're saying you take the athlete from any time and adjust for inflation?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
There's a stat for that in baseball.
Okay.
That adjusts for the era because it's based on your peers' values. So it's compared to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he has, I think he's won, if like the top on that, if not close. But I don't know. I think that's really important to compare based off of peers, based off of the time and place.
I don't know if I'm there with you, but I respect it.
That's my firm opinion on that.
You're welcome to.
If we're talking like straight, who's like stronger, faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today, obviously.
Yeah.
Evolution.
That's what
knowledge,
I mean. Like it's one of those. That's why I think saying like
and
goats,
access to.
I think saying goats is kind of silly because it's like, no, you're greatest of this time, not all time.
No, well, what does greatest mean? That's the problem. If you're saying who is the fastest, that like you can measure that.
Yeah.
Right. And then okay, but if you're saying who's the greatest, I think what encompasses that debate is the dominance they had in their particular area.
Mm-hmm.
How far ahead they were, like that. I think all of like how ahead of their time they were plays a factor in that as well.
I think if you're saying just greatest player of all time, that kind of is.
But what are you measuring that against? Like, what is the tangible measurement of greatness? To me, a part of being great is how you stack up against people that you're competing against or people that are trying to do the same thing as you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could just look at like wins at that point and just be like, oh, he had more wins than
but then it's like, okay, well, who played the longest?
Yeah, well, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Barry Sanders, one of the best running backs of all time, didn't play that long.
Yeah,
it's a very nuanced argument, man.
Sure.
I live for this stuff.
I clearly, and I don't care about sports. So
yeah, well, it's important because it's like, I don't know, if you're just coming at it from the frame of like, oh well, it's just going to be the next person who's the best. I think you also lose a bit of that history too, which is important.
I'm not saying wipe them off the record books or anything.
I know, but I think they're just as relevant today as they were, in my opinion. It's important to recognize that.
It's fair. What's how do we start this?
Singing in the Rain?
Singing in the Rain? Yeah, okay, whatever. Anyway.
Well, I was saying like we were talking about ideas that travel across eras.
Yeah.
And then we were just, I don't know how we got to greatness. Sports.
Just, you know.
Well, that's because it makes
Yeah.
me so mad when Mike says like Babe Ruth sucks. It's like, dude, he's
It's not. Yeah, it's not a. I'm not saying they suck or they should be like taken out. I just think that like, if you're looking at just pure, like talent, like bigger, faster, stronger, whatever.
well, he was just like so far ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
it's
sure.
To me,
He
he's
was
the best.
He was in the wrong era, I guess.
To me, he's the best,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Old Babe Ruth.
I like Babe Ruth. I have his baseball card.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's from Wendy's.
Oh, I was gonna say that might be worth a lot of money.
Oh, actually,
Probably
no, it's not
worth
Babe
money.
Ruth. I had Roberto Clemente.
Close.
Yeah.
Not really, but
Yeah,
close.
I had Roberto Clemente. Because he died, right? He was in a
Pirate.
plane
Yeah.
crash. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little holographic card. Anyway.
You know that League of Legends is coming out with a trading card game?
In a live action TV show or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of nuts. Like, why would you do that?
Live action?
No, the trading card.
That's a great question. Live action makes more sense to me. Yeah, the trading card game, I don't know, because they had Legends of Runeterra, which was their digital trading card game, which just failed. And I already talked about this a lot. I think that game, it's a travesty what happened to that game, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It was, their monetization was too fair. And that's why it failed. It's
Yep.
so gross.
Yeah.
And it's like people complain like, oh, these microtransactions, scummy practices with RNG, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's like, all right, here's the alternative. You were literally able to get every card for free. They went out of it. Like,
Yeah. Meanwhile, you have the Pokemon trading card game like
Yes.
going crazy.
Yes. Well, it's like, what do you want?
Yep.
As the consumer, you have the power, right? Like you have the power. Don't,
But that's what I'm saying.
Buy.
Is like it's weird because it's like, okay, like you did this
Yeah.
for, I'm gonna put in air quotes, like for free, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna go through all the production channels during a tariff war and try to put
well,
a
they
card
didn't know
game
that
out.
was going to happen, but yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they see what's going on with Magic. Magic has I think is kind of blown up in popularity due to a lot of the crossovers that they're doing.
Yeah, but why not crossover with them?
That's my question.
Yeah.
They did a couple cards from Arcane with them,
Oh, okay.
but it wasn't like a full release. Like the Final Fantasy stuff's coming out this summer.
Yeah, they did like Lord of the Rings. And
They did Lord of the
stuff like
Rings,
that,
which
yeah.
was huge.
Yeah.
The One Ring, like what a great marketing
Yep.
thing for that, right?
Yeah.
Genius.
Yep.
Goated. It was really smart.
Yeah, it was.
Everyone's buying packs. Like, what if I get? It's like you're pretty much playing lottery at that point.
You're doing Willy Wonka.
And it's like
yeah.
that's scummy, but
Yep.
nobody's complaining about that shit.
But they have like the infrastructure. I think it's really weird and tough to just kind of like get out in the marketplace.
Well,
Fresh like
look,
that.
Riot is very good at taking something that exists
Mm-hmm.
and just absolutely dunking. But they've kind of been on the downswing with that. So obviously, I have League of Legends, which was a Dota ripoff.
Yep.
Which the Dota ripoff was a Warcraft ripoff, really.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
which obviously super successful. And then they had TFT, which was also a banger, right?
Yep.
Because that, I say ripped off, but that borrowed from the auto chess,
Yeah.
which was that Dota as well, or was that something else?
Or
is it its own thing?
Actually, it's a great question. I
Might have
think
been Dota,
it
right?
might have been Dota. Like a
Damn, maybe
Yeah.
they're just good at just destroying Dota.
use that engine. It was like a mod for that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, a lot of these games like get their start
Yeah.
with like
Yeah.
it was all like MOBAs were a Warcraft 3 mod.
It was Defense of the Ancients.
I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah.
What?
Defense of the Ancients.
Yeah.
So then
That's
when
what it's
Dota
called?
2 came. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was no Dota 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it was. but it was the
Defense
Warcraft.
of the
Yeah.
yeah, I see. I didn't know that's what that stood for.
Yeah.
Interesting. Did you play that back in the day?
No.
No, you never got involved with that?
So I shouldn't say that. I did, but I didn't know what it was, or like I played a whole bunch of like just random things. So I did at one point apparently, but not like
stick.
oh my gosh, this is it.
I mean, it was a huge thing, I guess. But yeah, so they did well with those two, but then Legends of Runeterra, not good.
Yeah.
Even though, in my opinion, great game. It's
was
so sad.
TFT though, even that like I know
Yeah, TFT does really very well.
Still?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And then they're doing their fighting games, so we'll see how that goes. But I mean, that's been in development forever.
They did their Counter-Strike. They just don't like Valve is basically what it is.
They did. Okay, that's a great point. Valorant as well, which is doing very well.
Yep.
So they were like 3 for 3 fighting game pending, card game, Hearthstone knockoff, not good.
How long until they copy Valve's copy of Overwatch?
I think Valorant does that. Valorant's like CS and Overwatch, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they have the abilities.
You're right.
They're not going to do the hero thing because it is a hero thing. It's
you need something a little bit more
combination.
arcadey. Yeah.
And then they did the Riot Forge stuff, which I thought was a great idea, but that didn't last either.
Yeah, that was what, like a 50-50, really? Like on well received.
Yeah, I think like
I don't think anything was necessarily like
nothing
really
banger. Yeah, everything was purple. I don't think anything was worse than that. Yeah, really,
just kind of 80s
just
across
all
the board.
in the middle. Yeah, I really liked the Ruin King. It's on my top 100.
Yep, Ruin King was really good, and
really,
honestly,
really
even
great.
the Echo was pretty good.
Yeah, you liked that. Yeah. They had the new game, which I haven't played yet. But yeah, that was interesting because you got like indie studios in. I thought that was a great idea. I was bummed that they didn't catch fire with that.
Yeah, imagine Nintendo did that.
Oh, gave out their property to they would never.
They did with Ubisoft.
With what?
The Mario Rabbids. It's very good.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, but that's not quite the same. That's more of a partnership, right?
I got baby steps, I guess. Yeah, fair enough.
Like I'm talking like put it in the hands of one guy.
I guess the only people that really did it well was probably maybe like Warhammer. Just kind of just gave that license out to anyone and their mother and just go for it.
Yeah. That, I mean, it's a good idea, but I wish Riot did more like single player games and narrative games. I think there's a lot of potential there. But anyways, we'll see how the real card game does. I don't know. That's they try, man. They try. Yeah, but you're not going to beat Magic. It's just right. You're not going to beat Magic.
No, you're not. Like, and that's why I just like it's a weird thing in like today's climate to just be like, yeah, we're going to go do this.
Dota 2, I don't think was. I mean, it was pretty dominant, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know the history that well, but it was like, okay, that's feasible that you could compete with in that space. And then like the same thing with the auto battler definitely wasn't super. Like it was popular, but it wasn't super established.
Yeah,
but Hearthstone. Any fighting game.
Right, yeah. Insert fighting game here.
Insert fighting. It's like that's a whole nother ball game that. Yep. And then Magic the Gathering, like, dude, Magic the Gathering's been around for like 40 years.
Even like Digimon is having that kind of resurgence. You have Pokemon come back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So, worst time maybe ever. I don't know.
You got to question some things.
So it goes.
Maybe they know something we don't.
I usually have faith in them, but after the Legends of Runeterra stuff, I'm like, all right, well, that was a swing and a miss. Even though it was, dude, talk about a polished game. Just super flavorful, all the dialogue that they had for that game. I mean, just you play any hero in that game, and then they play a hero. There's always like unique dialogue, like so much unique dialogue for every situation. So cool, and the artwork's great. Just a shame it didn't work.
Maybe they'll find it. I don't know. Maybe make it more greedy and
it's on life support pretty much.
I think if they do physical and somehow tie it to a digital thing, you could do that. If you want your digital thing to really take off, is make anything you pull physically, put it into digital.
Yeah, they should rework Legends of Runeterra to make it the same as the physical. You're right. Yeah, that would be
and have it like unique.
Smart.
Like identifiers or something where not people can't just like share QR codes or something like that. Like make it real.
Right, exactly. Which I'm sure they could do.
Probably, but I'm sure it's also like a huge pain in the butt, and it's like why,
Well, so you make money,
I guess. Yeah. Speaking of money, I know we talked about Switch last week.
Yeah,
a lot has happened since then. Up to the point of Switch saying, guess what? We're going to just hold off on those pre-orders because, tariffs.
Yeah.
So when we were talking last week, it was $450 for the Switch, $500 with Mario Kart. Now you can't pre-order it in the United States, and now Canada, but they're getting kind of caught in the crossfire now. And still the same release date technically, but April 9th was when your pre-orders were supposed to open. That's come and gone, and now we're just kind of waiting in this limbo of like, all right, like when can we start pre-ordering, and how much more is it going to be? And different sources are saying like, oh well, they didn't take into account tariffs beforehand. So some people are saying that. Some people are saying, oh no, they worked that into the $450 price, so it's not going to be as much as you think, or it might not even go up at all. And it's just like, all right, we'll just
it should be 10%, right? If it's exactly what the tariff is.
Who knows? They ain't shipping them out of China. That's for sure. What's that? What's the tariff out of that? 140 something?
45 or something?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. So I mean, I could be wrong. I'd have to double check this. I think they were building factories in the Philippines.
Yeah.
In preparation for that. So like they knew this kind of stuff is like coming, right? So it's like, if Trump gets in office, here's what we got to do.
Right.
But yeah, this is just like no one knows about anything.
It's been a very volatile time.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Scary. But yeah, no, so what are your thoughts in terms of like what you're going to do? Cause I don't think you were planning on getting a Switch 2 anyways, right?
Oh,
you were planning
100%. Yeah.
Okay. So has that changed your outlook? Or
I think it just depends on how much it costs.
What are you willing to stomach?
Oof. I think it depends when they catch me, right? Like if I get a nice bonus check and then like
you got your bonus yet?
I get my bonus next week.
Oh, dang.
So
okay.
I get my bonus next week. And
have they told you what you're getting?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if Nintendo next week is like, and here are the pre-orders or whatever, I'm like, I'll probably be a little bit more open to negotiate. I don't know, man. I like 5 was already kind of pushing it. Like 5 was like me just being like, I haven't really got a new console in a while. Like I'm kind of itching. You got a new computer, and I'm just like, I get that FOMO, right?
Get a new computer. They're cheap.
Yeah. I'm really getting annoyed at my Steam Deck. So I like there's a lot of factors where I'm just like, man, a Switch would be great. But I don't know, like $550 maybe? Maybe $50. Like I don't believe that Nintendo put the $450 price tag out there without thinking about tariffs or how much it would cost to do all that stuff. I think that was a calculated number. So for them to come out and say, "Oh no, that $450 had nothing to do with tariffs," I think that's a little disingenuous. I don't believe them, just straight up. So if they come back and are like, instead of $450 now it's $550 and then $600 to have it with Mario Kart, I call BS on that personally. Now I'm not a businessman, I don't know, but like it's hard for me to believe that Nintendo of America is not like, not even just Nintendo. Not thinking about that when they're building, factories in the Philippines and doing all that stuff. Like they're taking those measures.
Well, there might be a scenario where they're just waiting to see, because
100%, yeah,
we don't know what the final result is. Like the tariffs are paused, quote unquote, right now. There's a flat 10%, and then apparently there's a negotiation happening. So it might be no tariff, and then they can just launch as normal, right? So I think they're kind of waiting.
I think it's going to be a huge cluster. I think it's going to be like, it's just hold, and then
hold the line.
It's going to be 6 a.m. one random day, and then I'll wake up and
they're all gone.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I sent in for Nintendo to get my pre-order through Nintendo. So you have to pick the thing you want and say, I'm interested in this. Theoretically, because I have an open Nintendo account and everything, and I pay for their online, I should get dibs on a system. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's a weird timing, bad timing.
People are flaming the like the dude that was talking about the Mario Kart, where he's like, it's just a really big, vast game. Like it's worth the $80. And then people were just like, oh, you're putting size to the value of a game, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, look, in some ways, kinda. Like, if it's like...
Here's my thing that I've been saying. It's like, look, I don't have a problem increasing game prices if you cut out the other monetary practices that you've been using to avoid increasing game prices. Yeah. That's never going to happen. So,
yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about?
Yep.
It's like, to think that they haven't been increasing their margins or at least keeping up with what, like, you know, people are saying, well, game prices haven't gone up in X amount of time. Think about inflation. Think about the cost that games take to produce. Like, yes, if you don't think that they've been putting that on their whiteboard this whole time, you're insane. Like,
exactly.
Of course they have.
Yeah.
Why do you think we have the monetary practices that we have today?
Yep.
It's factored in, whether it's through DLC or microtransactions or subscription service or whatever the case may be, or your Game Pass deal.
Yep.
Whatever it is, man. Like, this has been calculated.
I mean, freaking PlayStation came out with a $700 system without a disc drive, and people were, you know, recoiling and saying like, oh, you know, hiss and boo, and we don't want that. And then they have like one of the best freaking stretch of sales that they've had. And like, you're talking about getting a pro for Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Jeff, What Killed Jeff TV, Twitch.tv.
Great plug, dude.
Twitch.tv/ What Killed Jeff. He's talking about getting one. So it's just
yeah.
You guys are already double dipping in that. So
I can't wait till he does, because he's going to play Final Fantasy.
Yeah, but it's crazy because, like, you know, I would say Sony was kind of the first one to like kick us a little bit, but then like it does feel bad that Nintendo.
So what do you mean in terms of like console price?
Yeah, I just think that like
they've been doing the pro thing forever. Not forever, but
they've been doing the pro thing, but it wasn't.
They had the
$700
PS3 Slim,
yeah,
the PS2 Slim,
but it wasn't $700. You know what I mean? Like, it was like but everything's going up.
Yes. But games have not. That's kind of my point.
Sure, I think the thing is they just did. I think if you would have went from like, I don't know, $60 to $80, now it just went up $20, and you're just like, oh, you have this like sticker shock. But they kind of just went to 70. There are still games that are skating that line between the 59 and 69.
I think.
And then they jump up even more.
Look, if you're doing it like proportionally, there's still it should be higher, I should say.
It should
based
be is
on
the value there.
The inflation, the price it makes to make games, what they're doing, right? It should be higher. But again, my thesis with this is that is priced in other means. Whether it is through the console, right? Like Sony's doing, or subscriptions, Sony Plus or whatever, PlayStation Plus, or DLCs or whatever, right? Like, I think it's all priced in, is my view.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Increasing the games now to like $80 is like, all right, well,
yeah, what do we get?
You're gonna keep all the other stuff. You're still gonna have to pay for Nintendo Online.
Yeah, I mean, they're really doubling down. So you saying like if they're hanging their hat on, hey, this game is just so like jam packed with good stuff for you to warrant the $80 by itself.
Yeah.
Like, more power to them, because they are setting themselves up to just get absolutely
it's a
dumpstered
risk. It's a risk
if they don't deliver.
They're trying to set the standard, man.
It just seems weird that they're the ones doing it. I guess I feel it feels bad that like cute little Nintendo is being kind of one of the greedy people. Like, they're kind of paving the way for everyone else. They have,
like,
but
to pretend like they are innocent is insane.
They're not. I'm saying, but like they've always been like the affordable option. Like, oh, you're like Penny is getting to be like 6 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, her first console is probably going to be a Nintendo console and stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, at this point, I could probably just get her an Xbox and, you know, like whatever. Who knows? By then there might not be an Xbox, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like. They were kind of the kid friendly, like.
I agree with kid friendly. I don't know if like non-predatory business practice applies to that. Like,
I'll just say cheaper. They were the cheaper option, the less powerful option.
They're still technically the cheaper option.
Yeah, borderline.
Of course. What's cheaper?
Xbox.
Really?
Series X is $500.
Oh.
You can get it for, I'm sure, $400 this Christmas, right? Like,
such a horrible console, though, dude.
I'm just saying.
I guess. I mean, yes.
Series X still more powerful than a Switch. You know, like it's still
correct.
And with Game Pass, it's kind of decent.
Yeah. I can't argue with that.
They make you pay for the demo of what their console can do for Switch. So
that is
not to rehash that, but
so incredible.
Yeah. Anywho.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sounds like you're probably still going to get it unless the price hike is like a lot.
If it's under $600, I'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah. More than likely. We'll see.
$599?
No.
$598?
Because that would like with tax, it needs to be under $600.
$580? What's tax?
Tax 7%.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Oh.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm not. I'm gonna wait for the fancy Switch 2 to come out.
Yeah.
I think that's better.
Yeah,
I just got a Switch 1.
I have a Switch Lite, brand new Switch Lite up there.
I know.
Chelsea wanted that one,
yeah.
and then she doesn't want it now.
She has a different story.
Did she talk to you on it?
I was standing there.
Oh, so she took it out of the box finally. It was like, okay, I'll use it. Broke her down, and then she was like, I don't like it.
Ooh.
She likes the other color more in practice, and she said it doesn't feel as good. And I'm like, well, that's the oil from your hand making your other Switch like slick.
Yeah,
this is what it looks. It feels like new. So we package it back up, and she returns it to GameStop, and he's like, "Did you open this?" And she's like, "No, I didn't open this." He's like, "Well, I know you opened it because you put it in backwards." So like the serial number didn't line up. So then I like,
dude, you worked there. You should have told her the trick.
That's my fault. I should have.
It's on you.
She packed. I shouldn't have. I should have just done it all. But you live and learn. So I have a.
So what happened?
Switch. I have a Switch Lite. It's never been turned on. But I wiped it all down and everything. And like I'm torn because on one hand it's like it's a new system. Like we didn't do anything to it. It's like I wiped it's clean. It's cleaner than it probably came in.
Yeah.
So I might just take it back to Robinson. On the flip side, like go to a different GameStop. On the flip side, boy, I'd be pissed if I got a system that was technically opened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? This is a karmic moment.
Yeah. I don't know. Me, I just don't want to make the drive. So
throw it off a cliff?
I'll probably just I'll just have an extra Switch. So we have 4 Switches in this household. It's kind of dumb. Or what I'll just trade them all into
that's crazy.
Switch 2, but I'm basically throwing it like
trade them all
$150 away because you only get like $50 for them.
I know. You could get store credit.
$60 then.
Oh,
like whatever.
I thought the store credit was always significantly more.
No.
Dang. Wow, GameStop's a dying business.
GameStop is
a dead business, maybe life support.
GameStop's a joke. I'm sorry. Like I know it's always like, I not to flame a company on our podcast, but like you go in and like it's not how we handle business like back in the day. Like they're sitting there, they're eating, they're on their phones behind the desk. They don't look at you, talk to you, do anything like until you come up and stand there for an awkward amount of time. And then I'm just like, hey, I have a question. Oh yeah, what is it? And she's like, okay, come on. Like
it's the golden age is gone.
I guess.
It's gone.
I guess. Like I'm not saying you didn't slack off every now and then, right? Like you just kind of hang out, you chat, you do whatever. But like when customers were in there, like you kind of did work.
Why go to GameStop? I mean, it's like
there's zero reason now.
I buy my games and get it instantly. I don't have to leave my house.
Yep. No, they're the only place you can sell games. Short of going to like the exchange and doing it, or going in.
All my games are digital, so I can't sell my games if I wanted to.
Well, it's more like the console stuff, but
yeah, I got you. Yeah.
No,
not really a console gamer.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm out $200. I guess I don't know.
I'm sorry, man. That's frustrating.
That's my fault for trying to force Chelsea to have a new Switch.
Yeah, that is your fault. I hope you learned from this.
I did. I also, in that package over there, I have Hall Effect sticks. Turns out extremely complex to rip a Switch apart and replace those.
Ooh, no tutorials online?
Plenty of tutorials online, but it's like 35 steps to do that. Like it's like you got to pry this open.
Can't be any more complicated than a keyboard.
Incredibly more complicated than a keyboard. Like not even close.
Okay.
Yeah. Like seriously. Like like that's what I thought. Right. I was like, I'll just wham bam, put them in, pop them in. You're good. It's like no. Like you're like pulling things off of like heat plates and then like cleaning off all of the thermal paste and reapplying it and making sure that like there's like 7 different types of screws, and they're all in different. So you have to like take it out and like label it and put it aside. It's like it's wild.
Oof.
Doable. Like I could do it. It's not like soldering or anything, but I can. It's take a few hours to knock that out, and I don't know like what's for what. Like what's the point?
I don't know.
I don't have any. I don't got a point. Yeah.
We'll get the new switches in. Sticks.
I could, but like, why? Like, what's the point? You know, like,
why'd you buy it? I don't know. That's
I was
a you
I was
question.
gonna fix her switch, and she's like, "Nah, it's fine." And I don't want to break her switch because that
Maybe put some
worse.
oil on it.
I don't
oil it
think
up.
That's not how it works, but maybe.
I don't know. That's what you were saying.
Yeah. Well, it's stick drift. It starts squeaking.
She likes the squeak.
She doesn't like the squeak. She was the one that talked about the squeak, and she likes a different color. And I was like, okay,
the new squeak is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
Her sticks are squeaky. She put like 135 hours in the Stardew Valley, and turns out switch parts do not hold up.
Oh, you're saying the one she destroyed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. Sorry, my brain's not.
Sorry.
Why are you apologizing?
Nah, I'm just.
Why are you? Why are you sorry?
What? I'm sorry that I wasn't being more explanatory for you.
Well, it was on me because
Okay.
I'm an idiot.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to throw you under the bus like that.
I live under the bus.
Oh, okay.
Got a little camp there.
Ugh.
I'm like that guy from Polar Express. Lives under the train.
Nope, I don't do Polar Express.
You ever see it though?
Yeah, I've seen it every year.
And he lives under the train.
I don't
You know what I'm talking. You know exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Stop lying.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
I don't know. Look.
He's the ghost. He's the ghost guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's also Tom Hanks, I think.
Is he really?
I think so.
Tom Hanks. What a guy. You ever seen his son? His son's like kind of not Tom Hanks.
Yeah, he was in Dexter. He was a serial killer.
He looks like a serial killer in real life.
Yeah. Ben
Hanks.
Ben Hanks. That's not right. Colin
Hanks.
Yeah.
Hardly know her.
I think he has 2 sons. One that's like an actor, and one that's kind of like behind the scenes.
Oh, I don't know which one this was, but
Probably Colin.
it was some type of interview, and I guess he said something offensive or something. And she's like, "Do you want to apologize for that?" He's like, "No, dude, I don't care."
Yeah.
It's funny.
Tom Hanks did?
No, his son.
Oh, his son. Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting.
Maybe it is the behind the scenes guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, he's like all tatted up and stuff. I was like, man,
yeah,
this
it's
does
different guy. Yeah.
This does not look like Tom Hanks. Not that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's like okay to assume that a son would look like his father.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyways, so what have you been playing?
Oh, we go me first? Me first? All right.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I thought we'll do. So you said I was prepared. You sent me a thing that's like, hey, what's this weird puzzle game called Blueprints?
Yeah.
And you're like, it's getting really good reviews, and I was like, oh, that's exciting, cool. Like, I'm down for that. And it's on Game Pass, and it is kind of an awesome game where effectively, I don't want to give too much away. So your relative dies, and he sends you a note that says, hey, guess what? I'm giving everything to you. If you can, like, find my hidden room. I have a 45-room mansion, and there's a hidden 46th room. And if you get there, you get everything. And I'll know that you're worthy or something. I don't know. And it's kind of awesome. And you go into this mansion, and you have 3 closed doors. And it's this thing where every time you open a door, you get to pick from one of 3 rooms. And it builds the room and opens the door, and you can kind of go through it, and you keep working your way north. And every day, all the rooms come back, all your inventory is wiped, and it's kind of like a roguelite slightly, and you have to redo it each time. And you're just kind of going through, and every room has different properties and things that gives you, and you have like finding keys and gems and things to unlock higher level rooms and stuff. And it's really, really interesting because you're using the same rooms over and over and over and over again, but you start to unravel different puzzles. You start noticing just weird things happening as you're going throughout the rooms, and you're like, like, oh, there's a code in this room, and I wonder if you use it in this thing, or oh, there's a swimming pool in here, and I wonder what's at the bottom of that. How do I get, like just weird stuff, right? And there's kind of all environmental storytelling, so like notes and computers and different things like that, kind of telling you the story of your relative and like his family tree and everything. It's really cool. It's very much like a one more time type of thing. Like I was up till like 3 a.m. last night doing it.
Nice.
And like I showed you, like I have like little Post-it notes like of just like mad scribbling and whatnot. And I was so dead set on, hey, I solved kind of like one of the, like there's a bunch of like overarching puzzles and there's all like, it's very hard to explain without giving a lot of stuff away, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody.
That's what I read as well, is go into it blind.
Yeah.
Just know it's like a puzzle game, kind of like a roguelite, and then the room thing. And
yep. And I've done like 16 days on this playthrough. And it's interesting because you have 50, they call it 50 steps, or it's essentially your energy meter. And every time you go into a room and every time you leave a room, it ticks down by 1. And you can like eat fruit and do different things to like keep your energy up. And like there are different items you can do and different, like, so there are ways to kind of like mitigate that or enhance it. But it's just very well crafted, super interesting. And like, every time I'm like, okay, I've been doing the same thing over and over and over again. It just gives you that little extra like unlock or aha, or like, oh my gosh, I can't, oh, wait a minute. And like, you just start like, you see the numbers and everything and you're just like, what is happening? And then, yeah, last night I had a huge unlock that like kind of encapsulated like every room. And I literally kind of went back to the start, reset the day or whatever. And then I was like building rooms and like, I have like this grid out and I'm like writing stuff down. And then like every room is like giving you a message. Like it's insane how they do that kind of stuff. And like once you know it, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, like whatever. But like the constant drip feed of like figuring stuff out is really, really, really cool. So
I'm not generally a puzzle game guy. Is this a difficult game? What's the barrier to entry?
Super easy, I think.
Okay.
This is not, I don't think this is a hard puzzle game. Now it's a little weird because like there are challenging bits to it, but have you ever played The Witness? Probably not.
No.
Do you know what it is?
I do not.
So The Witness, and this is a spoiler for like a 2014 game or something like that, but The Witness was you would go through different environments and you would actually be doing puzzles, and you would knock out a puzzle and it would unlock a door and you move on to the next environment and you do the puzzles and stuff. And the big aha moment with The Witness was eventually you get to like this kind of like cliff and you realize that the world is actually the puzzles that you've been doing all along. And then you start like moving the world in a puzzly way. And it's like really, like, it's hard to explain, but like when you get that, it's like a really cool feeling. And it's just like this really cool, like neat thing.
It's always cool when things put the entire experience in perspective.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right?
And this game does that, right? Like you find things cool. And it really doesn't tell you anything. Like it's just like, by the time you get to the room that is like, hey, okay, like you've been at this a while. Here's a hint. I would say maybe like 9.9 times out of 10, I already solved the thing that it like hinted to, which means I guess I was like right on the line or slightly ahead of the curve on that. But
yeah,
I think if you get stuck, it does a fairly good job of like, you know what? Just hit like it. You just say, I'm good for the day, and it resets it, and you get a fresh run, and you just kind of go back in and do stuff. So like sometimes runs are super long and you feel real good. It feels a lot like Schoolboy Runaway in some aspect. Well, in some aspects, because it's like you go into a room and then you have car keys on the table and you're like, oh, that's huge. If I have the car keys, and then like you pull a garage room and then you pull the power generator, to turn on and it's just like when you're getting
it's a domino effect.
Yeah, when you're getting the things you need to get, boy, it feels good. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff it might be a really good streaming game for Jeff. Although he didn't really stream Schoolboy Runaway.
I don't know.
It was a private stream.
I don't know how good this is. Like in some ways it is really good. Like I think it's very interesting, and if you have like feedback from chat and stuff, I think it could be.
Sure.
But I have a feeling a lot of people would just tell you what to do too.
Yeah, that's the risk you run into, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of it's reading. A lot of it, like there's literally like a scrapbook, and you're going through this scrapbook You can find a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
And then you're like going through like looking at pictures and trying to find like tiny dates and hints of like, oh, maybe in this photograph there's a secret on how I could open the safe in the corner or something like that. And it's done really, really well. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's a good point too. Schoolboy Runaway, no reading involved, all action, high octane.
Yep.
But no, that's cool. Yeah, it's been getting great reviews. So I did text you, and when I started reading what it was about, I was like, "This is a Tyler game through and through."
It's my favorite game this year so far.
Dang.
Yeah, like we were just talking about how I'm like, I really haven't like had that aha thing.
This is getting there.
It's there.
It's there.
It's already like I'm constantly thinking about it, and that's all I want from a video game is to like leave a lasting impression. So like that's the thing that I'm like. I mean, it stopped me from playing Assassin's Creed. It stopped me from playing Berserker. It's just like
I went like playing Assassin's Creed.
Well, yeah, because I was like, okay, I really need to like. I have like maybe 3 more assassinations, and I beat the game, right? So like,
then you get to the next world.
Ugh, I hope not. But I had that.
I'm just kidding.
With this is like, I mean, I have 12 hours in it. I got to the room that I'm supposed to get to, and then I guess like phase 2 happens or whatever, and it's like this real weird like. I got really far, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, like I thought it was done, and then it like, nope. Here's now you go to the basement, and it's just like, oh crap. So I don't know how far I am or what the end thing is or whatever, but like it's
just enjoy your time.
I am.
Yeah.
If it ended, like if I am right there and I almost ended it, like I'm like, this is a perfect 12, 15 hour game. I'm good. You can do it faster. You can probably do it slower. It's just like, it's is what it is. But yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I'm glad you kind of found a game that you're connecting with.
Yeah,
because I was worried.
It doesn't run great on Steam Deck, so I was like excited because I'm like, I'll play it on the plane. Probably not gonna do that because it runs. Man, my hands were like sweating with it. But
yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, so I'm hoping I can. I don't know, maybe finish it tonight. We'll see. Because I leave on Sunday, so I'll try it out. But
I was gonna ask what you're gonna play tonight. So
yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
If you do Monster, and I'll help you out. But otherwise, I'm gonna be doing Blueprints.
Yeah,
which is funny because it's called Blueprints, but Blueprints.
I keep thinking you're saying Blueprints.
Yeah, but you're doing the blueprints of the house. So
yeah,
it makes sense. It's funny.
You think they did that on purpose?
100%, and it's all integrated in there. So
it looks like a blueprint.
The game is all about the red prints. So it's I can't. It's weird.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's kind of neat too because at the end of the day or the run that you do, it based off of the different color rooms that you put down, it'll label the house and like the manor, and it'll be like, oh, this is the greenery villa, and then it gives you like a little snapshot of how many rooms you had and knew and how many steps you took and all that stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah. Also, play The Witness. It's very good.
I probably won't.
You won't, but
okay. The
should.
Audience, definitely should.
You should play Firewatch. Is the thing that you should play.
Really?
Yep.
Is that like Firefly?
Nope.
Okay.
Farthest thing from Firefly.
Really?
Yeah.
The absolute opposite thing of Firefly.
I would say it's the farthest thing. Yeah.
Which you do like Firefly.
I love Firefly.
It's your favorite show of all time.
Nope.
It's close.
It's in the top 100. Can confidently say that.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know if I've watched 100 shows.
Definitely.
I don't know if I have. I don't watch shows that much.
I'll say it's top 75. I'll give you another 25.
You talk about it not infrequently.
Firefly?
Yeah.
No.
You're like, man, remember Firefly?
Yeah, Firefly was good. It was good.
You said great.
It is. I think it is a great show.
Yeah. Too early. Ended too early.
Yeah.
Do you like Firefly or Smallville better?
Ooh, Smallville.
Yeah. You love Smallville.
Yeah. It just, you can't.
Any random actor, you're always like, they were in Smallville.
Yeah. Like Firefly, right. It's like, here's a season. Smallville, that's 10 years of my life. Like, that's 200 episodes.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
it's Smallville.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not saying Smallville's...
Well, you had to think about it for a second.
Did I?
You said, oh, that's a good question.
Oh, well, okay, fair enough.
Okay, unless you're just bullshitting me.
My thing is, I really like Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
He just can't like compete with all the I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
all right, fair enough.
yeah.
Okay.
What about you? What do you got going on?
Just playing Assassin's Creed and Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Which we're going to be reviewing Assassin's Creed in a couple of weeks. That'll be very interesting.
Yep.
I'm excited for that.
Everyone has to have it finished. Yeah.
I'll have it finished.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So
All right.
that's really the only 2 games I've been playing.
Yeah, Monster Hunter, you said level 19.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Dude, I'm getting there.
You are.
I'm almost halfway.
To what?
50? I was told 50 is like you beat the game, I guess. I don't know. That's what Dwayne was saying, at least.
50 is you have seen all the monsters, maybe.
Yeah. And that's what
I am 54
my cousin said.
and haven't seen all the monsters.
You can't review the game until you see all the monsters. So, okay.
Spoilers, I don't think seeing the last monster is going to have this
Tip the
profound
scale.
change.
It might. I'm giving it the old college try.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
You were very quick in launching new missions and doing that kind of stuff. Like
I don't know what I missed. I'm like super under leveled compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
Everyone else are like, oh, when I saw credits, I was at like 25. I'm like,
yeah.
I didn't really do the side quests mostly because I can't find where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
I mean, that's all it is just the side quest stuff.
Yeah, it must have been a lot of XP I missed out on. But
well, you didn't miss out. You can always go back and do them.
I guess. Are they the exclamation points or like what are the...
Yeah, they're the yellow
I don't know.
little
The
circle things.
map gives me a absolute aneurysm.
The whole game is very rough. Spoiler on the Monster Hunter review.
Well, I mean, there's some good things there, I think.
We'll have Jeff on twitch.tv/whatkilledjeff.
Dang, 2 plugs.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, that's a better one.
Yeah, I mean, the one
But
before was...
he needs to be on and defend a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, well, he hasn't been playing it. I don't think he's in love with this game.
Well, he's at like 100 and some levels. He's done everything.
Yeah,
right?
but I think he would have his fair criticism
Yeah.
of the game,
Yeah.
which is fair. I mean, is he going to be as low as you on it? I don't know. I don't know how low you're going to be on it. So it's all...
yeah. Keeping
it's
it
all a
close to the
mystery.
chest. Might be my favorite game of all time. You never
It
know.
is not,
It's not. No.
but I don't know.
yeah.
You might be lower than me. I might be lower than you. It's hard to ballpark that.
You'll probably. I think this is one you'll be lower than me. I think.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I've been hiding my cards.
Speaking of not low,
Yeah.
you got something that's super high, right?
Oh yeah. So you talked a little bit about your favorite game this year.
Yep.
I'll talk a little bit about my favorite game so far this year. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Greatest game of all time. All right, not quite. But great game. Great game.
Yeah.
Amazing game.
Superb.
135 hours. Completed my playthrough. Felt great about it.
Yep.
Did what I had to do. I saw Bohemia. I conquered Bohemia. And I retired.
You're just done.
Well, I don't know. I might go back. There might be DLC, which like we usually don't play DLC, but this is a game that's like this is good enough.
Sure. Dude, every game is good enough, and I just never do it.
Well, the DLC seems to always score much lower. Like Horizon, for example, Forbidden West, great game, amazing game.
Yeah.
But the DLC was like mid 80s, low 80s. I don't know.
All right, so Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Tell me why it's your favorite game this year.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, this is a game that really encompasses that idea of you want to do it, you can do it. And that is one of the most fun parts of video games, right? Like when your imagination goes wild, it's like, I wonder if I can do that weird thing. And it's like, yeah. You absolutely
like they account for it, the
they account
systems
for
work.
It. So like, for example, if you are exploring and you find something weird and you're like, I wonder what this is for. And then it's like a quest item later on, there's different dialogue that happens. That's like, oh, I already have that.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like that small attention to detail that I think is like the icing on the cake where it's like, man, they really thought of everything. Cause like in a lot of games, it would be like, oh, I need to find this ring. It's like, okay,
And you just go back and
And
talk
then
to him.
you
like,
talk to him
"I found
again.
your
Exactly.
ring."
And then but this is like, oh, I need to find my ring. It's like, this ring? It's like, yep. It's like, that's awesome. It's just all...
It feels deliberate. Like, it's like, okay,
Yes.
like if we have this thing here are all the different threads and paths that could lead to it, or the dialogue options and things. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
So small things like that. So let me start in our usual structure. I'll try to run us through this in a structured manner and hopefully not be too long. So we'll start with gameplay. The gameplay in this game is, I think it's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm being objective about it, it might be a specific kind of player. You got to really give it a chance. And kind of pondering how much I love this game, it's pretty interesting that I was so on board with this style. I think the reason is because I love immersion, and this is maybe one of the most immersive games ever. You really have to be a patient player. Like, it's not going to be a high octane, like you're going from like a Devil May Cry, right? Where you're just destroying demons for like 50 hours straight. This is like very deliberate, very calculated. Like, all right, I'm walking across the country because I don't have a horse yet. And I need to pick flowers so I can make potions and sell that so I could like buy food to survive. Like, it's very much like the early game's interesting because it is like survival.
Yeah.
Like, you got to figure, you don't start with really anything. So I liked a lot of that. Also, the mini games and stuff, like talking about the immersion, it's like to craft weapons and stuff, you have to hammer weapons and like blacksmith properly and like heat the metal and everything, right? Like there's specific instructions on how to do that, and you can do it better or worse. There's like a spectrum of results that you can get. So it's really cool. And potions are the same thing. Like, there's recipes, you got to follow the recipe, and if you use the wrong ingredient, you're going to mess it up, or don't leave it boiling for too long or not long enough. Like, it's very, very intricate in that.
The thing that I was shocked about is just how I don't want to call it like punishment, but you really can't cut corners. Like, you can't just like decide, I'll just do this real quick, or I'll like metagame something, or like, at least from what I early on, because I only played maybe like, what did I say? It's like 25 hours.
Yeah.
So my thing was like, if I want to like try to like jump down a cliff or do whatever, it's like, you're like breaking your legs, so you're done. So I think that was the thing, is like, in maybe you're 100% right. It's about the mindset, where for me, it was like, okay, I need to like be a lot more deliberate and methodical and slow, and those aren't like, typically that's not great adjectives for a game, but in this, it just works and feels rewarding every time, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think this is a game where you get out what you put into it. If you come into it with the mindset of like, I am going to just kind of live in this world, and it's not limiting, though. It's not like you have to play the game like they want you to play it. You can play this game really however you want to play it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could steal everything that you want. That's totally viable way to play it. That's much more risky.
There's consequences.
There's consequences. There's a whole system of like, depending on what crime you commit, the punishment. You could be in the stockades. You can eventually like get hung,
which is insane,
and your game's over.
Yeah.
So it is so well thought out. There's so many different systems and mechanics that are just introduced in this game. There's a plethora of skills and abilities that you have. Anything from horse riding to all your combat stuff to making potions or whatever that's called, alchemy, to drinking. Drinking's a skill. It's so awesome. It's like you can be the best drinker ever, and you get skills. It's like you don't get hungover anymore. You don't, it's like, or you get bonuses when you're drunk. So it's like I would be sneaking around drunk because I was much better at it because of my perks and stuff. So I don't know. It's really cool to look at those different aspects of the game. And there's just too many things that count. Like, this review is going to be forever if I go through them all. The combat itself is very interesting too, where very unique. And I was talking about this before, where it's really accurate to real sword fighting and weapon fighting. I was watching a couple videos of like actual sword fighters like reacting, you know, those videos where experts react and they're like, wow, this is really, they draw inspiration from specific like German sword fighting styles and like riposting and all that, like stances. It's like pretty accurate. So it takes a little bit to get used to. I don't know how it works on controller. I would imagine it's much harder because you have to kind of pick what stance you're in or what side your sword's on, and that it's very dependent on like the likelihood you're going to hit, and like if you can count. It's kind of complicated, so I'm not going to go through it. But once you get the hang of it, it feels great.
Right.
And you can feel yourself getting better and more attuned to it. So
it's cool too, because like typically when games are like super like adherent to realism, that takes a lot of the fun out of it. Or it's like they're slaves to that, and like they somehow manage to make it engaging and fun and not just like Skyrim where you're just like swinging in, like there's no like there's connection every time. There's like a very kind of visceral like
there's a weight
feedback to it that is very, very well done. I think without that you lose a ton of what that is. Yeah,
that's a great point. To kind of piggyback off of that a little bit, the realism aspect, and I talked about this before in a previous episode. For example, if you're over encumbered, you're like super slow. That's always super annoying, right? In this, your strength and vitality stat go up when you're over encumbered, indicating like you're lifting heavy. Like that makes sense. It's like, would this exactly be 1-to-1 in terms of realism? No, but it makes sense logically, and it rewards you for doing things that are typically really annoying. So like there were times when I was just carrying stuff from one side to the other. And I was increasing my stats crazy amounts. Like, I spent 15 minutes walking.
But you still got rewarded for doing it. I got
rewarded big time for it. So it's like, it's just small things like that. So well thought out. And you're right. They balance the realism with fun perfectly in my mind. Like, it's just so well done getting those two aspects correct. So that's the gameplay. And there's a lot of other aspects to the gameplay, but really, I think it's better to really experience it than to kind of know every little bit. Because like there's these things where like you just have these moments. I'll give you one other where it's like, so there's a mechanic where you can smell bad. Like bathing's very important in this game, where it's like, of course it is. Like you think about like back then, it's like you don't have showers and stuff. So bathing is like a key mechanic. So you can start smelling bad, which destroys your charisma, obviously. But it's so well thought out, where there was just one thing where I was in this person's house trying to sneak and steal something as a quest item, because I was like, I don't want to kill this guy, but I need the quest item. So I can go, it's in his pocket. It's in his inventory. It's very much Skyrim like that, right? Where that's super cool. Well, it's not actually in his pocket. He actually puts it, so every NPC has a routine. They go to bed, they take their clothes off, they put it in their chest. So like if you watch them, they do this routine. So like the quest item was put into the chest. So it was like very detailed. Anyways, so I'm trying to break into this chest. I smell bad though, because I was just in the mud trying to get there. And he wakes up. He's like, what the fuck is this smell? I woke him up because I stunk.
It smelled so bad.
Like, what game does that, man?
It's taking a Bethesda game to the next logical place of, okay, hey, like this
if you're riding your horse and there's a branch too low, you don't clip through it, you fall off your horse. It knocks you off.
And like, it's crazy because again, any other game doing that would be frustrating and annoying and stuff. But it's like, no, it's very clear early on before you even get your, like, it's just like, nope, this
lays it out.
This is what you have to do. It's
exactly.
Either your game or it's not, but like this is the type of game this is.
Exactly. So the gameplay, just super fun. I just had a great time with it, whether it was the combat or the caveat is it takes a little bit of time to get used to. So you got to put that investment in, because like I remember early on I was telling you like, dude, how does the dialogue work? Like, how can I pass these tests? And it was really frustrating because it was like not very. There's a whole bunch of things that influence your score, which isn't really viewable Well, it is viewable, but it's like it doesn't tell you what you need to pass.
Yeah.
But once you get used to it, and once you start getting more perks, that stuff opens up and it becomes much more accessible, and you kind of learn. So the barrier to entry may be a little bit higher, but you get rewarded for putting that investment in.
Nice.
I said I wasn't going to go long, but I'm going super long. Apologies. Story and characters. So this is another really strong aspect of the game. So I compare this game a lot to Skyrim in terms of like you have this open world, you know, you have your main story or whatever, but then like you get out of the dragon attack and you're like, welcome to Skyrim, man. You can do whatever you want. And this is very similar in that where you have that first kind of introduction. It's like, here you go. You got the rags on your back and find it out.
The world gets turned upside down. It's like, okay,
here you go.
Yep.
The difference is this story beats the shit out of Skyrim's story. Skyrim's main quest line is like the worst part of the game.
Yeah.
This main story, I was interested almost immediately. Like, I mean, we were talking about it. I think it does a great job of drawing you in. The characters that you're introduced to right off the bat, even though you didn't play the first one, are funny, engaging. I think the voice acting is really well done. All the performances are great. Yeah. Where it's like, yeah, these are the boys. We're on a mission. Like, you're just kind of invested. At least I was. I was really invested in what was going on. The politics of it, the time period, everything's like just super interesting. That time period is really interesting. I talked about this too. Like, this is all real events.
Yeah, which is nuts, right?
Henry, the main character, is not. Everyone else is an actual person. I'm sure they took liberties and exaggerated some things.
They changed names too, I believe, right? Like, so like when you have a character and then like it'd be like,
maybe
here's his actual name, and here, or maybe it's just like here's
maybe
like
some
German
of them,
name or something.
Yeah. You're probably right. I think some of them weren't though. Like I think Catherine was actually Catherine,
sure.
But anyways, yeah. But based on reality, which is crazy because the story is pretty wild. I guess some things aren't as wild as real life sometimes. So
one of the things with the different characters that I noticed like right away was the fact that it's not like that you don't have these like crazy swinging like attitudes and things like that. Like when you're talking and you're having like a normal conversation, their demeanor, their kind of attitude and just, I don't know, like the way that they treat you is like a gradual thing. And it does feel very organic versus something like a Skyrim where, oh, here are your dialogue options. You pick this one, and then suddenly their face goes cross and they start like screaming at you or something.
Yeah, right.
This one, it's like it just felt a lot more natural and just kind of how it would normally play out. Where I never felt, again, you played a heck of a lot more than I did, but like I never felt like a dialogue option was like suddenly like, oh, that's not what I actually wanted to say, or oh, that's not how I thought that was going to be. Like it just felt very intuitive for the little bit that I played.
Yeah, and that's a big part of when you talk about dialogue options. Like what comes to mind with that is like Fallout 4, for example, was a big example of not what you intended to pick. Mm-hmm. I remember that was like a controversy where it's like, dude, that's not what I meant to say. Like one option's like hello, and it's like, hey, piece of shit.
Yeah, it's like, hey, die.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. This one is very, it gives you a lot of different options, a lot of different ways to navigate the conversation too. And I was kind of talking about this in the gameplay where, it expands more than just your Paragon Renegade, like good, bad. It's like you can threaten them. You can be, there's like a nobility aspect. Like if you dress nicely, people will treat you better. Mm-hmm. You could just be very persuasive. That's separate. So, and then some of them like factor into each other. Like I said, it's kind of complicated, but it's very interesting. It's much more varied than your standard like, oh, good, bad.
But again, it's also intuitive, which is very ballsy for a developer to do. Where it's like that system works really well because you can make deductions and like typically it's just like, oh yeah, no, like it worked how you expected it to work.
Yes.
Because if it doesn't, then not only is the system frustrating, but like now it's like doubly so because like you don't know like the wind conditions and different things like that. So the fact that they apparently nail it is incredible.
I think they do. I had a great time with it. But as it pertains to the story itself, yeah, I think the main quest line is really strong. It's very interesting. I think it does a great job of kind of giving you the main goal. So one thing that maybe is a problem with open world games is that you have this main quest. It's like your typical like fantasy problem where it's like, oh, the world's going to end, but let's do all these side quests.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make sense, right? It takes you out of the experience. This is great where it's like, okay, we need to figure out how to get to this one thing, right? Here's the main objective, but we don't have anything right now. So you have to do side quests to kind of get to a point where you can survive and get on your feet and be able to continue the main quest.
It makes sense. Like it's
so natural.
Everything feeds into like kind of that main storyline.
Yes.
Which is like Veilguard's kind of the same way. Like that was one of the things is like, it's silly that that's like a one of those aha moments, but it's like, oh, imagine if you have kind of your main story to tell and everything just ladders up to it, making it like the stakes that much higher.
And what's very important is that these side quests impact that main story. So there's a main point of the main story, like your first act, if you will. And depending on like who you meet and the side quests you have, there's dialogue specific to that. And
that's awesome.
And you know me, that's just my favorite. And
choice matters.
That's all. Absolute favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, this little quest I did in the woods with the drunken huntsman. He's at the main quest next part, and he's talking about the things we got up to and the choices we made, right? So it could have ended various different ways, and it's just so well thought out. Mm-hmm. They really did that kind of spider web of like, here's what can happen, and let's make sure to incorporate that and talk about it and things of that nature. So, I mean, that's great. The characters are so varied, so like funny or dicks or like just it's very human. Like you said, I think the writing and how people are portrayed are just like, yeah, I know a person like that, like, or that's how I would act if I was in 15th century Bohemia or whatever, right? Like, just
in the very beginning of the game, whenever like light spoilers, but it's like they're in the stockade at one point, and I'm just like, I'm like, if we were drunk in a stockade, I could like the way that they're acting and like sniping at each other and like trying to kick each other and stuff. I'm like, I could see me standing next to you in a stockade and doing that exactly. I'm like, when a game does that, you know, it's like, okay, like it's very human and not this like robotic, like just kind of like soulless dead. Like every character that you talk to has something going on in their life, and it really feels that way, which is crazy. It's
a lived in world. It feels that way to the point, like I said, every character has their own routine that they do. That's not just like scripted, but they'll do like various different things. They'll go to the tavern at night. Like everyone will gather at the tavern. It's like, feels so lived in. But yeah, every character's unique and has their own thing going on and their own set of beliefs. And it's just amazing how they communicate that through the quests, through the dialogue. It's really great. So I really liked it. I think the designs are great too. Every character design is awesome. Like it's very, again, realistic human. Like every character has imperfections and, whatever the case
is. It's like, what, you said 15th century? It's like, they're gritty.
Even the most nobles, they look better than the peasants that you meet, which is like a distinction is just a reality of it. But it's like, I mean, they don't have the makeup or whatever in today's standard. I just think it's really interesting. I like the design of how they did that. Yeah. But yeah, overall, the story's great. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a lot of politics to it. And I think the thing that stands out to me the most is this is a perfect example of a game it's not good versus bad. This is like gray. This is gray. Both sides are shitty. Both sides think they're right. And they do terrible things to each other. And it's like, it's justified in their mind.
It's real.
Like, it's so just real. Yeah. Exactly. You can't get any more real than this because it's like
this is also historical. But yes,
well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and that's kind of how life plays out in a way where it's like generally it's not necessarily good versus bad. It's very nuanced and like I said, everyone thinks they're right. So, I mean, there were times when it's like, generally when you play a game, you're like, okay, I know what option to pick because it's like whether I want to be the good guy or the bad guy or whatever, right? In this, there were times where I was like, dude, I don't know. This is like a moral quandary here.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think we're on this side, but that's kind of messed up a little bit. And I was like kind of considering a lot of the choices there. It's not binary at all. Very nuanced. So that I really, really enjoyed in terms of like the story and narrative and stuff. So I'll jump into the last two, like sound design and presentation. So sound design, I think great. We talked about this a lot. I think modern games have great sound design largely. I really enjoyed the soundtrack. So I'll talk about this in presentation more, but the world is beautiful. And I think the soundtrack complements that perfectly. Thematically, it's spot on in terms of instrumentations they use and just the music itself, the score. You really do feel like you're in that time period. And then depending on where you're at, whether you're exploring the wilderness, it has a very purposeful thematic element to that versus like in a crowded city or in a tournament with other knights. It's very well done in terms of what they're trying to convey.
Is the music always going on, or does it give you kind of like the breaks and then like swells of different points and things?
It does give you that. It depends on what you're doing. So like when you're exploring, it's more consistent.
Okay.
In terms of like what you're hearing. So, but when you're in a crowded area, you're talking to a lot of people. There's a lot more breaks and subtlety to it, and I think they play with that a lot and do a very good job. It's well thought out, like everything else in this game. I think that's really kind of the main point. Like they thought about every aspect of the game. And then the sounds themselves, I think, are great. The clinking of the metal when you're clashing swords or hammering swords when you're making them, boiling potions or whatever. I think it's all really well done. The voice acting, like I said, which I guess falls into sound, performances are great. I did notice that they do utilize a lot of the same voice actors. You're like, wait, I recognize this voice. That was the shopkeeper's voice. So it's very Skyrim in that regard. Skyrim is really an apt comparison of this game. You can tell that they drew a lot of inspiration from it. But yeah, I mean, that's just small nitpicky things. But overall, the sound design's great. And then the presentation itself, I think, also very well done. The game looks great in terms of the setting itself. I think they totally nail. We talked a little bit about this, like the forest in particular and stuff. I mean, it really feels in terms of like the scale and detail that they have. It feels like you're walking through a forest. This might be one of the best games I can remember. Like the paths and trails, and then there's like little micro trails that go off on people that walk that way, but it's not as well traveled. Like you can tell like small details like that, like a real forest. If you've ever been in like a forest. So it's really, I felt like I was in Bohemia, man. Like they were dropping me in a forest in Bohemia, or the farmland and meadows and stuff.
Like Alan Wake 2 felt really good, but you were still in that third person.
Yes.
And then when you go first here, it's like that much more just like this is 1-to-1.
Yes.
Yeah, it truly never felt that in a game ever. And this was just spot on.
Yeah, the immersion is just incredible. You really feel like you're living in that world. And even with Alan Wake, like, yes, Alan Wake looks better from a fidelity standpoint, but that forest is, I think, exaggerated for the horror effect, or the effect they're trying to convey. This is a forest, man. It's hard for me to describe. It's just so accurate.
It forces you. So like
all the environments.
Times too when like you're going from like the little hut that you start out in, you kind of move around and stuff, and like even in a game with like this forest, I'm like, oh, I know that tree because it looks slightly different. It's like there's the landmark there. There's going to be a little creek down here. Okay, I go, and like it was crazy how quickly you pick up on that stuff. And honestly, Skyrim, similar too, where it's like you get used to the landscape and you find these like little markers and whatnot, but like it was so seamless and so just immediate, where it's just like it was effortless, I think is a good way to say it, where it's like I know where I am at all times, more or less, without having to just constantly have my map up because I don't care about the surrounding environment.
Yes.
It really forces you to like, force is a bad word, but like it really encourages you to be like, no, just be in the moment, dude, and you'll figure it out. And like, sure enough, hey, that's my creek, or hey, that's my tree, and just like.
So I'll give you a perfect example of this. My philosophy as it pertains to like these open world games or games with large maps like this is you can tell if it's a good implementation of that if you start recognize, like you say, landmarks, where you're at. You don't need to use the map. So another example of this like is Skyrim, but I think of Cyberpunk.
Sure.
I got to the point in Cyberpunk where it's like, I know what the street names are.
Yeah.
And I know what, like, if I was a citizen in Night City, I could be like, oh, you take a left down Sweeney and then you bang a right and this and that. And it's near the Sears Tower or whatever. Like,
yep.
That's when you're like, wow, this is a really well thought out.
It's lovingly crafted.
Yeah.
It's intentional.
Yes.
Every little item is placed appropriately.
Yes.
And I'm not saying like the entire game, maybe it is, who knows, but like I'm not saying the entire game world is like that, but the paths that you travel that the developers know you're going to be going on, they give that a little bit more love. They make sure that you can kind of do that without having to go to your map. Not to keep like bringing up like other games while you're reviewing this one, but like the Assassin's Creed is like the opposite, where they're literally just copy and pasting like they're like just painting, and they're just like, all right, well, we have this massive map to fill in, so I guess here you go. And like, yeah, they'll take some time on like one city.
Yep.
But then everything surrounding it is just like, I don't know, just kind of like run through it, and it's not nearly as engaging or immersive or encourages exploration, because like there's so many little things where you're just like, if I go off the beaten path over here, let's see, I did find this ring. Okay, cool. I'm going to go talk to this. So like 100% agree with you. Like there's a very clear delineation between like people that are taking the time and really putting the effort and people that are just like, hey, we have a map that's bigger than, like, so what? If there's nothing to do in it, or if it's copy and paste, it's not nearly as engaging.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the small things that you don't really notice but feel great.
Yep.
That kind of guide you off the path a little bit, right? Kind of tempt you.
Yeah.
And then you do find a chest or a band or like a crazy situation. There's like, this is so Skyrim where there's like these just random crazy situations. Like I was wandering the world, and then this guy comes up and he's like, my guy here is the best fighter in the world. And then he's like goading me into a fist fight in the middle of the street.
Yep.
And then we get into a fist fight, and then I beat the shit out of him, and he's like, you cheated, blah, blah. It was just so, like, you can't make this up. It's just so quirky and weird and fun, and you just get all these little memories that everyone's experience is going to be different. It's just chocked so full of those things. So, yeah, the presentation itself, it's a beautiful world. I will say, like, maybe in terms of, like, actual fidelity, like I said, and detail, there are some spots that don't hold up quite as well. Like it's not like a Cyberpunk where it's like stunning visually, right? But I think the atmosphere itself and the world is where it really shines. If you kind of take a step back and take in the entire environment, is the best. Maybe not the character models themselves as much. They don't look bad per se, but definitely behind some other games.
Sure.
Like in Assassin's Creed, for example. Like Assassin's Creed looks incredible.
Yeah.
But I think it holds its own. And I was playing on my old PC for this game, and I wish I had my new one, because bumping it up that extra level does make a difference.
Help it out,
But yeah, I think that is maybe one drawback. I will say too, like the menus are great. I love how everything's laid out. It makes a lot of sense. I think the UI is fantastic.
I think this has my favorite UI that I have interacted with in, like, I can't remember something that I enjoyed more than this.
And that's high praise coming from you.
It's insane. Like, I think the big caveat is it is a lot easier with a mouse and keyboard.
Yes.
Where whenever I switched the controller for like a quick second, I was so out of it. I was like, oh, what am I doing? And then that got really frustrating.
Right.
But everything was very intuitive, very just right there for you. It was there when you needed it. It was away when you didn't. I thought the map was good. I thought that the inventory system was really, really well done. I think largely it was like near perfect on if I was sitting down and I'm like, okay, how would I design something? Man, there would be very, very little that I would do differently.
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
Yeah. So, anyways, I've been glazing this game for a while now. It's one of the new kids'
glazing it.
Terminology, I think.
Seems dirty.
Glazing someone?
Yeah.
It probably is.
Yeah.
I thought it just meant like hyping it up. But
oh, yeah. I thought it was like your...
Anyways, like glazing a donut.
Yeah. I'll probably have to cut that from the review.
Well,
anyway, continue.
Yeah, so I mean, there are some drawbacks to the game. Like I said, I think it takes a while to get into.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to be very patient. So if you're wanting that rush, just getting into things quickly, this is definitely, you have to have patience to play this game. Yep. I did run into a couple technical things, like some bugs and stuff. Like there's just one guy who's like sliding across the entire thing. It was very Skyrim. It was very Skyrim.
Yeah.
Not nearly as much as a Skyrim or a Bethesda game, but you do see those moments where some weird things are happening, or there's some clipping in a house, like a roof disappears.
Yeah.
Few and far between. Not enough to break my immersion, but funny when you do run into it. And then I did run into a couple things where like, so there's like this tournament and it wouldn't load because the character was stuck behind the barrel, the beer cask or whatever. Yeah. So I had to reload that. So that was frustrating. So there are some, it's not perfect game. There are some things that, you know, are a little janky as it pertains to that. And I'll say as well is there was another thing that I was going to say and now I forget. But yeah, overall, really good. Dude, there's another negative I was going to talk about, and I can't remember what it was.
What did it have to do with?
I don't know, dude. The story itself. So while I think it does a great job of bringing you into this story, making you invest, like I was invested, but man, are there so many characters and like events and callbacks. Like I had to watch a recap of the first game. Like you cannot play this game. I mean, you can. You're not going to be invested in this game unless you watch that first recap or understanding.
So you're specifically saying as a sequel, not necessarily within the game itself? As a
sequel, yes.
Okay.
It's so tied into that first game. I mean, it's really just, the first game ends and this literally picks up right there.
Yep.
So it's really one experience, even though it's in a different region.
For instance, like with Avowed, you're just going around grabbing every quest and doing stuff, and then you just forget who everyone is, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I felt like this was maybe not that same way. Like you actually were invested in a lot.
Yes,
but you're saying from like the first game, you need that background.
Exactly. Everyone who was introduced in this game, I knew very well, but they reference a lot to the first game, and they do try to like catch you up. Mm-hmm. Like there's some flashbacks and things, but it's not enough. you really just got to get... So there's like a 10-minute video you can watch. You'll be good. Yep. I was good after that. But yeah, I think if you played the first game, man, this is just chock full of those little...
Yeah.
There's a lot of quests I did where it was like, hey, I did this once. And it was like, if you play the first game, be like, I did that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so not perfect. But man, does this game have heart, immersion, just fun.
This is a John-ass game.
It really is. I mean, you can go to the brothel. I kept talking about the brothel. Great time.
Yeah.
It gives you a bonus. Everything rewards you in some way. Right?
Yeah.
And it's just
like the level up system. I like this more than, again, any other game that I've played in recent memory in terms of getting all the little bonuses as you go and
smart.
And stuff.
It's just so smart. It's like, do these things and we will reward you. Every time you read a book, you get experience in your scholarship. And like that's in addition to there's skill books that do that specific skill that rank you up, but you're also getting scholarship. And every time you talk to someone, your charisma goes up, but also your scholarship goes up if they're telling you about things. Mm-hmm. Like when you ask about the lore, you get XP in your scholarship. That makes a lot of sense.
Just live it. And
every time you drink, you get your drinking up. Like it's just intuitive in a lot of those regards. So I love this game, man. 135 hours. Just
so the big question is, you love this game. How much do you love it?
I love it a lot.
On a scale of 1 to 100.
Yeah, that's a great question. Where's our cutoffs again?
So
they're there, yeah.
Yeah, 96 would be putting in platinum tier.
Man, is it a platinum game? Like
86 would be gold.
The hardest piece for me is like being objective in a way. Because what happens is when I fall in love with a game, I'm very tunnel visioned on like, I just love this game. And yeah, well, obviously it's like you're more willing to accept the shortcomings when you're in love with the game.
But the fact that the game made you fall in love with it, I think should not be discounted.
Absolutely. But I do think it is a hit or miss for a lot of people where it's like, yeah, some people wouldn't like spending 10 minutes brewing a potion.
Yeah, but, but you called it out, like it's like for whatever reason, like I don't like that, but doing it in this game, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't like the normal like smithy stuff. Like even just hitting a button in a game is like annoying to me.
Yeah.
Like normal like mini game stuff.
Yeah.
This, it was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, I think it should be praised that it can do all of those really kind of crazy, like we were just berating Indiana Jones for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But in this game, it like somehow works and they do it better.
Talk
and
about
it's more like
your unarmed combat in this game. It feels so much better than Indiana Jones.
It's wild. So like I think all that stuff factors in.
Yeah. So I don't know. This game just reminds me of what I feel like I say this all the time, but it reminds me of what makes video games amazing. It's just those little moments where you're like, wow, I can't believe they let me do this. Or that was so close. I have 1 health left. It's the middle of the night. I can't, like, you just get all these little stories. I feel like I was playing like D&D or something where it's like, I'm just telling everyone about all these crazy stories that happened to me in this game.
Yep.
And it's just magical. So, I mean, this game is going to stick with me for a while. It was a great experience. If I had to rate it, which I do, I am conflicted between the highest of golds and breaking into the platinum tier. And I think if I'm being just, since it's my review and my love of the game, I would give it the 96, which is that platinum.
From the way that you talked about it, and even like, I mean, I put a few hours into that, right? Like it's just like I could see it. To give some sort of context, so like we put it, Baldur's Gate was at 97.
Yeah,
I
think so. Astrobot was also at a 97.
Yeah,
which is one tick up.
It's around there as far as just like quality of game. It's a special thing.
To me, I think it's special. I think this is the best game like this since Skyrim, and I think this is a better game than Skyrim, in my personal opinion.
Oh, without.
Well, that's a hot take. Yeah. People love Skyrim, and I also love Skyrim. But this is just like an evolution of Skyrim.
There is nothing Skyrim does. Well, this isn't a review of Skyrim, but yeah, like it's like, but it's better on every level, like on every single
improved.
Level.
They really stood on the shoulders of the giant, I think, which is Skyrim. But just
the thing I was going to ask you is like whenever the new Elder Scrolls game comes out, it's like this is now the thing that they have to go up against.
Yeah.
So I think that's
no cakewalk,
right?
But I just had a great time.
That's awesome.
I just had a great time with it, man. It was like 2 months or something where I just every night I just got. I mean, like you love a game when it's just like there's no question about what you're doing that night, jumping on, just living in this world, man. And that is what it just has everything I love. You know me. I love characters. I love good story. I love immersion. This is the game for immersion. This is the game.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
There it is.
All right, 96. We'll put it down.
96.
It's huge.
Huge review. I spent a lot of time on the game, so I feel like a long review is probably.
I think,
probably
either
justified.
You like it, you don't like it, whatever. But if you want an immersion, this one's for you.
Yeah, I think if you like historical games as well. And specifically that time period, you're going to absolutely love this game.
Yeah.
My one friend, this is his favorite game of all time, this franchise, like the first one was. Mm-hmm. He's a history buff. He likes that era. So he's like,
he's in.
Super into that. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. All right.
Cool.
That's all we got.
Yep.
If you made it this far, thanks. Sorry about the long review. But I gave you all my thoughts about it. Check us out. You can check the review out. Couchcompany.games. Got the reviews up on there. Everything else you could ever possibly want. But for us, we're going to be here same time, same place next week. Thanks for joining us on the couch. Peace.